Hey everybody, happy Monday. And guess what I'm doing today?
It's a big job.
It's our big reveal. It's really exciting. 10 new tanks for 10 new bettas.
10 new tanks for 10 new bettas. And what that meant for me is we just got 10 bettas out of various tanks in the fish room that we haven't been showing for a while.
Yeah.
Out of their little quarantine areas, out of their little staging areas, and finally they go back where they're supposed to on your wall,
On
which
my
means
wall.
I have a little bit more space in some of my tanks.
You want to know what else that means?
What?
I will have 20 tanks. Are you concerned?
Yeah, that was-
Because I'm kind of coming for you.
That was going through my head as you were setting up these tanks.
Like,
Obviously,
why
they're not
two?
very big, but yeah, I'm like, wow, you've got like a third of the tanks that I do now, and that's pretty much, that's crazy.
It's very exciting because you're gonna see that I have a girl side and I have a boy side. So at some point here, we might be doing some breeding.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the cool things about the way this is set up. That is ultimately what we're shooting for, is kind of mix and match. Some of these males, some of these females, they have come from different locations,
Yes.
different breeders, and so we're going to start to see what they produce, how they produce. And you're kind of new to this thing, and I haven't bred bettas before, so I'm going to kind of let you do this thing and all the research, and I'm just going to sit and watch.
And hook up the air.
And I hook up the air. Stay tuned. So I thought I would jump in here before Joanna gets into all her different tanks and the amazing job that she did on all this stuff, and talk real fast about the filtration. In all of these tanks except one, we have those little mini Aquatop nano sponge filters, which we really like. We've used them in the past. And by the way, I'll put links down in the description below if you are interested in purchasing these things. The lighting, what we've done, I just did a video on lights for all budgets, and we decided to go with the 72-inch Beamswork light. This thing has been pretty good. We've now got a couple of them. We've got a third one that we're going to set up pretty soon for the bottom row of Joanna's area. So it looks, I like the lights a lot. They're not going to break the bank, and it covered 6 feet of tanks, which is pretty cool. So we've got these Aquatop filters. One of the filters, or one of the tanks, you're going to see doesn't have a filter. It actually just has a bubble feature. But I am convinced as long as there is air running, we should get the necessary nitrifying bacteria we need to make this work. These tanks, the filter media was not cycled, and that's okay. We've been using the Filtration 7. We've been using that now for a while. I'll put that in the description below as well. To instantly cycle these tanks, we've used it now 4 or 5 times and have had 0 issues with ammonia or nitrite. So the Filtration 7 is working, so we put that in there. Obviously, we conditioned the water. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm going to let Joanna talk about all the different stuff that she did to the tanks and the fish, but pretty cool setup. All of these tanks are 2.5 gallon tanks, and I did a Betta species profile on this before where I said a 2.5 gallon tank, in my opinion, is a perfectly adequately sized tank for these fish. If you've got a single Betta like we do and a mystery snail, that's a good size. In fact, I even talked in a previous video about how there is more to a tank size than just its volume. And so some of the tanks that you see on the market that might be rated at 3 gallons or 3.5 or 3.7, when you actually do the measurements, there's actually less horizontal swimming space in those tanks than the 2.5s. And ultimately that's what fish really need, is that horizontal space, not so much the vertical. So while 2.5 doesn't sound like a lot in volume, I think it's actually a better sized tank than some of the trendy cube tanks on the market right now, where they're including the filtration compartment, even though I say 3.7, but the fish doesn't get to use that much space.
Now for the fun stuff. You know, I was so excited to scape 10 tanks. I was gonna have 10 bettas. I did get a few more. I got some from breeders. I got some from, I tried to switch it up. I got a couple from Petco, a couple from PetSmart. I'm very curious how they all do, and they're all different. I'm gonna go through each one of them, but it's very fun scaping 10 tanks, but also very stressful. I used a lot of the same wood, little like manzanita, spider woods. I used, that's really the same plants, anubias, a lot of crypts towards the back because those will get bigger. It really just kind of kept it simple because I didn't want the plants, little doodads and the rocks to take up a whole lot of space, but I want to give all of these bettas lots of cover, and I will be adding some floating plants here pretty soon too. Going from left to right, this is the fun part. I divided them girls and boys. Let's meet all of the bettas. This is going to be the fun part. In the little mushroom log, we do have the Dumbo ear, Coco. Then we go to one of the kind of just the natural scapes, and that one is a crown tail. Her name is Tie-Dye, very pretty blue and white. The next one we have in the little bubbler, which I've never had a treasure chest bubbler thing, so I'm very excited. It's really very cute. This one, I named her Emerald. I call her Emmy because in the other tank, the holding tank that I had her in, she looked more of like a greenish teal. In this tank, she looks a little bit more blue, but you know what? I call her Emmy, so that's the name that's gonna stick. And Emmy, by the way, she's an assorted female. That's what she was called, and that's actually why I got her, because she's just a very generic fish, and she was so pretty in the store. Next we have, I call her Stripes. I couldn't think of a name, but now I just call her Stripes, and it really just kind of fits her. She is also a crown tail, and I just left her little area very natural. Okay, for the final girl, yes, when I was at Petco looking at the bettas, I kind of got suckered by the little baby girls and the baby boys. That's how they're labeled, and they're smaller. They're so cute, and I do know I've heard this from a breeder that they quite possibly are not babies. They could just be little runts. But you know what? That's fine, because I saw her and I just had to have her. Now for the gentleman's side. We have, I also had fun picking out these decorations for the boys. In the deep sea diving helmet, I put Slimer. That is his new home. I did keep him temporarily in the glow tank, yes, but when I got it, I knew it would be for a limited amount of time, especially after I set it up. I said, and that flow it's way too high. I had a real hard time keeping the little sponge piece on. Anyways, Slimer really likes his new home. He's got lots of real plants. He's swimming around nice and active like he always is. So, and he looks just as beautiful as he does in the glow tank. So next we have Taffy. I named him Taffy because he is a candy veiltail. And when I saw him, I just had to have him. He is from a breeder. I got him from a breeder at the GCA swap. He's just beautiful. Next, in the tiki tank, I named him Edward. He is a half moon double tail, and I don't think I've ever had a double tail, so this is very exciting. He's very pretty and like opally. There's a little bit of purple on him. And then in the next tank we have Captain America himself. Yes, Cap has gone to this one. We took him out of that fluval tank. It wasn't working. The placement of the tank wasn't working. It was hard to feed him. I couldn't really watch him, and he's just very sociable. So I knew that he would like to be up here with the whole gang. And for the last boy, he is also very beautiful, and he's got like the little oriental lantern that I see in a lot of tanks, and I always thought that was kind of cute. So yes, I did. I put that in there, but I cannot think of a name for him. You know, you meet a lot of fish and you're like, yeah, that's gonna be the name. I cannot think of a name. So once again, I do need some help. If you have any suggestions, I'd appreciate it if you leave it in the comments below to name him. Now, all of these tanks, I have all of the cards ready to go especially for the boys. So I will card them probably, you know, a good deal of the time. But I am very excited. As soon as I put them in here, they're all looking around at each other and they're having so much fun, and I get to see them. The placement of these tanks on the second shelf is perfect, easy access. So far I'm so excited. I can't wait to come back down here again. So I hope you liked the video. I hope you enjoyed meeting all of our bettas. It's going to be very exciting to see how they all do. If we can start breeding, that will be very exciting. So if you did like the video, we'd appreciate a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Stay tuned for more. Bye.